Good afternoon. I hope everybody is doing well. Again, my name is Jason Feig, based in Michigan. I have the opportunity to work with Khan Academy right now. As Doug had mentioned, my previous experience started as a school teacher, then a school administrator, and then I spent some time with College Board in both Michigan and in Indiana. I'm a skeptic. It may sound a bit strange to start that way, but I say I'm a skeptic of any resource that tries to enter the school system. So I met Khan Academy when I was working with College Board, and at the time there was a partnership between College Board and Khan Academy called Official SAT Practice. So I spent time, really immersed myself in that resource, got to know Khan Academy well, which turned into a job. So I'm really honored to be working with Khan Academy, and we're here today. And I was sharing with Doug, this is week 4 on the road, talking about not just Khan Academy, but our AI tool called khanmigo. I want to share a bit today to give you some context for the work that we're doing. Our mission is to provide a free world-class education to anyone, anywhere. You may be very familiar already with Khan Academy. Either your students use it, maybe you've used it. And so as our journey as an organization, I think about it in 3 buckets. And this is setting context for khanmigo. The first bucket of work is what we call grassroots usage. So on the screen, I have a list. I'm in khanacademy.org, available to anybody. I have a drop down of our courses. And when I took the job with Khan Academy about 1.5 years ago, my main priority was to work with school districts in 13 surrounding states that were interested in using Khan Academy in a more collaborative or more succinct way with students. Right now we have several students, individual students, that might be using that in classrooms, but we were really interested in our next sort of phase beyond the grassroots usage of partnering with school districts. So the first bucket we call grassroots. Current usage, you can go to khanacademy.org right now. You have the ability, students have the ability, you have the ability as a teacher to use any of these courses. So again, some context before we talk khanmigo. We have all these courses are mastery-enabled, full-length mastery-enabled courses. I have been saying, as I've talked to schools, this is largely underutilized. Again, this is before khanmigo, but I feel compelled every time I talk about us as an organization to make sure you're aware, all of these courses on the screen, full-length mastery-enabled courses. The whole platform was based with mastery learning in mind. Students learning at their own pace, at their own time. So we see these courses used in a lot of ways. Full-length courses, purely as a supplement, credit recovery, students that need to advance, maybe students with skill gaps. We have a whole series of courses in the bottom left corner that are called Getting Ready for Courses. Those courses are there to fill in some prerequisite skills. So it might be an example, a student is in 8th grade and they have some skill gaps. Well, the Getting Ready for 7th grade course might be helpful. So I'm setting this stage, the grassroots stage, before I even talk about khanmigo, because this is the heart and soul of what we do. The platform's available, it's no cost, it can be used in a variety of ways. So you have what we call grassroots. The next phase of work that I was referring to a moment ago, and the work that I do right now, is I talk to school districts, or school districts reach out. And they say, hey, we're using Khan Academy. We would like to be a little bit more strategic in our use. That's what we call district partnerships, so the second bucket. That partnership involves 3 elements. We auto-roster using Clever ClassLink. We provide data and analytics at a high level at the school and or district level. And then we provide professional development. Probably the thing I'm most proud about, particularly because I'm a former school administrator, is when we talk about professional development, it's not off the shelf. We engage with the school, we ask what problem you're trying to solve, and we shape the training based on that. So grassroots to a district partnership where you say to us, we're interested in these courses, here's the problem we're trying to solve, and then we engage in those 3 elements. Auto roster, we provide data and analytics up, and then we provide professional development. And then, the third element I want to pause on before I talk about khanmigo, because there's a little bit of context I want to share before we get there. We partnered with OpenAI over 1 year ago. So a moment ago you heard a little bit about ChatGPT. So we partnered with OpenAI to build an AI tool that acts as a tutor for a student and a teacher assistant. We paid attention to some really key elements in terms of what we call guardrails. And the story I want to share before I start, as a former educator, I have 3 children at home. My daughter attends Grand Valley State University. My son's at Michigan State University, and I have a senior in high school. I'll never forget this day that really set the stage for how I think about the work we are doing and what you're tasked with now in education around AI. I was on my laptop, sitting in my living room. We had access to khanmigo, so we were playing around with it, really testing it out before we released it. All of a sudden, the door slams. Poof. In runs in Spencer. Spencer attends Michigan State University. He's a freshman. He said, "Dad, you will not believe this. I never have to think again. I never have to write again. There's this AI thing. I don't know what it's called, chat something. I don't know what it is. I never have to really even do anything ever again." And I said, "Spence, come on, have a seat. Let's have a conversation." And I think what that did for me, because we were getting ready to release this, and I think about how my son reacted to his first interaction around AI, is it really makes us very thoughtful at Khan Academy about this resource. Because there's a lot of things that might be scary. There's a lot of things that are unknown. We've seen resources come and go in education. It doesn't matter if you've been here in education a year, if you've been in education for 30 years. I have no doubt, without a shadow of a doubt, when I saw khanmigo and I saw AI, I have no doubt this one will have major impact. There is no question about it. When you think about a student, never before have we been able to have a just-in-time tutor. Never before have we had a teacher assistant that can do some of those things that teachers are engaged with every single day that take time. We know time is critical. And so when we start getting into this Khan Academy story, I referenced guardrails. So when we built this tool, we paid attention to the ability to flag conversations. So that's one guardrail. So when students using khanmigo, you, as an educator, want to be able to monitor that. We have that built in. So a student could be working in any of the courses here or even outside, and I'll share with you some of the other options. And if a student engages in some of those things, you can probably imagine self-harm, threats of violence, etc. You have the ability to monitor that. It flags a conversation. The only feedback in, I don't know if it's 13 or 14 weeks I've been talking about this. The only negative feedback, if you will, has been from a school who said, I had some false flags, and my response was, I'm okay, we're okay with a few false flags. Because we want you to be able to monitor how students are engaging with this AI tool. The other really great feature is, a moment ago we were looking at ChatGPT. If you were in the room and you were able to prompt a story and feed it and it would write a story. khanmigo is built into these courses. It does not just write for you, you have to prompt that. khanmigo is built in every one of these courses. It doesn't just give you the answer. It works like a tutor. So one of the ways we're distinctly different right now is A, platform's been built. You're probably familiar with it already, or your students, maybe, or your staff. You add khanmigo on and you've got this tutor every moment of a student's experience. So whether I can get to a student or not, or I think about those students, when I was a high school principal, students that wouldn't engage, I'm beginning to wonder how this just might engage a student who historically wasn't engaged, who doesn't want to ask a question, who's at home maybe that doesn't have help. And so you have the flagging feature. I'll show you that. We have it doesn't just give you the answer. It doesn't just write for you. And then, again, it acts just like a great tutor or a teacher in the classroom. So let's shift now and actually get into the platform. I'm more than willing, if there's somebody that would like to come up and prompt, I'll prompt it for you. I'll tell you what to prompt. But if somebody wants to actually prompt khanmigo, I'm more than happy to do that. If not, all right, one volunteer. That's all I needed was one volunteer. Excellent. Because what I'd like to do is I want to start with the student in mind. And so, and what's your first name? Thank you so much, Liz. I greatly appreciate that. I would also say, while Liz is coming up, if this is something that's really intriguing to you and you want a demo, after the session, I'm going to be hanging out here or in the back, and if I can get your email address associated with your Khan Academy account, we can get you temporary access. Because in reality, it would have been great to have all of you with khanmigo access right now, playing around and really just immersing yourself in what can this do. But if you want access to that, all you have to do is reach out. So Liz, here's what we're going to do. We have all our courses. Let's select the Algebra 1 course. So this screen here is what a student sees in all the courses. All of these boxes that you're seeing, the course is broken down into units. I can see as a student, I can track my own progress. I can see if I'm at mastered, familiar, proficient, or attempted. And so if I'm normally working through the course, I have information at my fingertips. If I scroll down a bit, or if Liz scrolls down a bit, and you'll see, again, we're broken down into units. Let's go ahead and go to Unit 2, Linear Equations with Variables on Both Sides. And the first thing that pops up here is a video. So one of the options in a video when we add khanmigo in, khanmigo, I know it's not showing on the screen, but it's on the bottom right corner. So Liz is going to click the khanmigo icon in the bottom right corner. And she's going to switch the toggle switch to I have access to teacher and student. Students wouldn't have access to the teacher version. So the video pops up. I may want to watch that video. I may not want to watch that video. But what Liz could select was give me a summary, quiz me, write a poem about the video, or why should I care? So I'm going to go ahead and have Liz either click give me a summary or quiz me.
I wanted to pick why should I care.
Oh, we're going to go there next. So khanmigo, sure thing. Let me read over your shoulder here. So sure thing, the video is about solving equations, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I could watch the video, I could have it summarized for me. Now we'll have Liz go back up because she was super interested in the prompt about why should I care. And that prompt is built into every one of the courses. The purpose of that prompt is to really try to engage a student because maybe I'm not super thrilled about Algebra 1, 8th grade math, whatever the course is. But what if I could go ahead and select, go ahead and Liz, did you select it? Okay, so why should I care? Well, let's think about what you do like. So it's going to ask me, so what do you like, Liz? What do you enjoy doing? Sleeping, okay. Very like middle school-ish response, right? I as a middle school principal, I like to sleep. So if she prompts, if Liz prompts, says, I like to sleep.
Type that in?
Yeah, absolutely. We want the khanmigo to better understand what you're passionate about. And if sleeping is something you're passionate about, you can imagine everything else a student might be passionate about. What khanmigo is working to do is personalize that experience. So that's one of the features in the ability of khanmigo to be able to personalize based on what a student's interested in. Maybe it's skateboarding, maybe it's video games. You can go down the list of students you work with that have areas of interest. And then what khanmigo will do is begin to say, okay, you should care about this particular class because, and it will work me through, I won't read everything khanmigo is saying. Essentially, it's taking whatever you're passionate about and tying it to that concept in that subject. And you know how difficult that would be as an educator to be able to do that with, let's say, 10, 20, or 30 students in a classroom. khanmigo can do that. It's at the student's fingertips. So I don't know what it said about sleeping or how it tied to that. But
Making sure you hit your sleep goals.
Make sure you hit your sleep goals, okay. Okay, so that's a video. So we're gonna go to the left-hand side of the screen. So again, I'm in Algebra 1. I have khanmigo built in. I didn't feel like watching the video, I can summarize it. I could have it quiz me, so I could watch it and then have it quiz me. But on the left-hand side, let's go ahead and select equations with variables on both sides. Oh, let's move down a little bit. Sorry, we need to get to an exercise. Sorry, it's a little bit easier for me to see here. We're looking for an exercise, which would be right here. Yep. We'll click Let's Go. So now I'm a student. I'm working in a course. I went from a video now to an exercise. The exercise here is really irrelevant of what it's asking me right now. This happens to be solve for G. So I'm looking at this. I'm a student. What might a student say, Liz, if they look at this? If they have zero background understanding, what's the first thing a student might say back to khanmigo?
Help me solve this?
Give me the answer. Oh. She said, give me the answer. She said, give me the answer. I think that's what you said, Liz, right? So go ahead and tell khanmigo, just give me the answer. Again, this is one of the guardrails that's built in. And you don't even have to tell khanmigo, please, but that's awfully nice of you to do that. Yeah. And what does khanmigo tell us? Sorry, I can't give you the answer, but I can help. You learn how to solve it. Let's start. What's the first step? I want to pause there. To me, this is really where the power comes in. When you look at what I've been describing as AI out in the wild, lots of tools. The difference with khanmigo is it's going to react in a way just like you would as a teacher, just like a great tutor would. Nice try. What do you think the first step is? It's going to prompt me back. One of the things I love about khanmigo, it prompts me back as a student. So if I'm Liz, and maybe strike one, didn't give me the answer. Okay, the next thing might be, I don't know. Liz said, I don't know. I don't know. And you'll notice grammatically it doesn't matter for the most part. It'll pick up the student's response. And so khanmigo says, well, no worries, that's okay. We need to get all of the G terms on one side. How can we move 0.5 grams from the right side to the left? So again, prompts me back. So the main point I want to make here from a student perspective here is you can go from trying to get the answer, which it won't do. Can you open another tab? I get this all the time. Jason, can someone cheat? Yes. Since the beginning of mankind, yes. We know students can open another tab. We know students are creative. Part of what we're doing as we work with schools is try to start talking about academic integrity and the use of AI. Because this AI will be used most likely in their future career. And so what we're trying to do as an organization, as we partner with schools, is help schools understand how to help students understand how to use AI tool to make them more efficient, to deepen their understanding, to engage them a little bit better. So it doesn't just give the answer. Okay, so let's go from here and let's X out of khanmigo and let's go to the Khan Academy icon at the top. So the khanmigo is built into the course. Now, let's step out of that. There are a couple other features I want to highlight. Then I want to talk about the benefits of teachers. So on the left-hand side, no, it's not showing great, but on the left-hand side of the screen, there's a whole series of prompts. Because this is my demo, I have teacher and student built in. Students would not see the teacher version of this. But Liz is going to scroll down a bit. Yeah, I know. I know it's backwards. Let's stay up a little bit higher. Right about, a little bit up. Right about there. There's a Tutor Me option. And the Tutor Me in Math and Science, let's go ahead and click on that. So now imagine I'm in a course. I have my personalized tutor right there. Now maybe I have a task that I was given, or I just want to go and learn something. Maybe it's a project-based experience, whatever it might be. And I can go out to Tutor Me in Math and Science, and I can put anything in here I want. Maybe it's something related to biology, or I'm working on a project that I was given in class, and I really can't think of how to get started. khanmigo can act to kickstart that thought process. All I have to do in the Tutor Me in the Math and Science, and there also is a Tutor Me in Humanities, all I have to do is feed khanmigo, which I want to pause right there. Because in the last 14, 15 weeks, I've been talking to schools across the 13 states. There's something that keeps coming to top of mind, and I think it's perfectly suited to raise right here. I'm not really sure. What happens when a student doesn't know how to prompt khanmigo? And I think that's something for all of us to start thinking about. Powerful tool. But what if I'm stuck? So as we begin to talk to schools as an organization, we're starting to think about how do we help schools, help students know how to prompt the tool. And that came up in the previous session around prompting. I know that there are some tools out there, but something to be thoughtful about, whether you're using khanmigo or you use another AI tool, how do we help students prompt the tool? So Tutor Me in Math and Science, Tutor Me in Humanities, and then we have Craft a Story. Yep. Craft a Story, we won't go into detail here. Essentially what it does is it gives me some prompts. It will not just write, I can say just write me an adventure story. It will not do that. It asks me to fill in the blanks. We filled in the blanks earlier. If you were in the previous session of the story of ChatGPT, this you have to fill in. So it could help a student get started. The last thing I want to show here, because there are several other student features, is we're going to go up to the top and click Khan Academy. I think I have 2 minutes left and I'll be done. In Khan Academy, if I'm a teacher and I build a course, I have all of my data and information. khanmigo can take all that data and information by clicking class snapshot in the upper left-hand corner. As a teacher with students in my class, it's going to break all the data down for me. As it's breaking down, what it's going to do is going to give me 4 different prompts. One of those prompts that's interesting is, can you break students down into 4 groups based on performance? So imagine Algebra 1, students working in Algebra 1, direct instruction happening, data is on my dashboard, but I say, you know what, I want to be more efficient. Click class snapshot, breaks my data down, breaks students down into 4 groups. I can do 2 things from there. I won't demo it because I'm down to probably 30 seconds, but I can say to khanmigo, okay, there are my 4 students based on performance. Can you write a parent letter to Jason's parents about his performance? It will give me a draft copy of that parent letter in about 2 seconds. And I can adjust it any way I want. I just have to feed it back. I could also say, khanmigo, you can do this in both the teacher and student side. I can change the language. khanmigo, can you respond in Spanish? It will do all that. So we didn't get into all the detail, and there's no way I could have done this justice. And the main thing I wanted to say today is lots of AI tools out there. You're inundated. We feel very comfortable at Khan Academy with the work we've done in the platform we've built. We built the guardrails in. It blows my mind about how much it's improved just since we've introduced it. And as I said at the outset, I'm going to stick around a bit. If you would like a trial access to kind of jump in and play around, I'm more than happy to set you up with that before I leave today. Thank you so much for your time today. I greatly appreciate it. And thank you, Liz.